Hey LEG, it's Pastor Ryan. It's day 3 of our devotion series we're doing for Holy Week. I've entitled it Easter Hope. If you've missed the first 2 devotionals, you can find them on YouTube. You can find them on our Facebook page or on our website at www.larnachurch.com. Every day this week, it's my desire to talk about an event that took place the week prior, or the few days prior to Jesus' death, his crucifixion on the cross, and all of this is to prepare our hearts as we get ready to celebrate Easter this Sunday. The main verse I've been using is found in Hebrews 12, verses 1 and 2, and I'm going to read it out of the NIV today so you can read it along with me on the overlay. It says this: "Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles, and let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us." Verse 2, "Fixing our eyes on Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of faith, for the joy set before him, he endured the cross, scorning its shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of God." Now I want to go one more verse. I want to go into Hebrews 12, verse 3, and I think it's very key and instrumental to what we've been talking about. Read it with me. It says this: "Consider him who endured such opposition from sinners." Obviously, he's talking about Jesus, but so that you will not grow weary and lose heart. That's the essential point I've been trying to emphasize during these devotions, so we won't grow weary or lose heart. We do this by fixing our eyes on Jesus. I promise you, the heaviness that we feel at times, and after this last year, I know everybody has probably experienced it at some level, but when we keep our eyes on Jesus, with Jesus, that weight will greatly diminish, and it will allow us to continue to handle the challenges that you and I might face. For those that were around Jesus during these last few days before his crucifixion, I know it was troubling. I'm sure they had a lot of unsure moments, but Jesus was talking about his death. There was rumors going around about an arrest and about a trial, even putting Jesus in prison and even putting him to death. I think there had to be feelings before and even after his crucifixion where the disciples wondered if life would ever return back to their way of normal. We've heard that quite a bit this last year, right? When we're experiencing this, when we're going through those feelings of just being overwhelmed, we get to do what Jesus did. And I shared this, I just wanted to touch on this again from yesterday's devotional. Jesus took intentional time to pray and spend with his Father. He was there in the Garden of Gethsemane, but it was intentional time to pray. But the moment that I want to talk about today, the Passion Week, the thing that Jesus did, was he took intentional time to spend with his disciples. He had a meal with them. I've said this in each of the first 2 devotionals. The depression and anxiety rate, the U.S. Census Bureau put out a statistic and then said 42% of all Americans above the age of 18 experienced this. Now, I said it was alarming because the average before 2020 was just 18%. Now it's jumped up to 42%. And I think a lot of that has to do with us being all cooped up, telling to stay away from each other. They closed down restaurants and businesses and theaters and schools, and even our churches all had to shut down as well. Through this time, it became very evident how much we need one another instead of having to interact with each other on a screen. In Luke 22, this is what I want to talk about. Jesus did this exact thing. On the night that he was betrayed, he took time to eat, to celebrate Passover with his disciples. They gathered around a table, and it says they actually reclined. And in verse 15 of Luke 22, Jesus says this. He says, "I have eagerly desired to eat this Passover meal with you before I suffer." Jesus spent intentional time with his friends. This is what I see him saying. He says, the last thing that I want to do before I go give my life, before I go experience the cross, before I experience everything that's going to come, I want to be with you. I want to eat with you. I want to enjoy the time that we have together with some of my favorite people. How often do you eat with your favorite people. This is my encouragement to you today. Spend quality time with your people, with your loved ones, with your friends, especially if you're going through, maybe you've experienced some of what I talked about, the depression and anxiety over this last year. One of the ways that we can combat it is by spending time with the people that we love, especially right now. Spend quality time like Jesus did this last few days. So he spent quality time with his Father. He spent quality time with his friends. That's my encouragement to you today. Go eat a meal with somebody. One last thing. This Sunday, April 4th, 10 a.m. here at LAG, we want to invite you to our Easter celebration. We're going to celebrate that Jesus is not dead. He rose from the dead, and that we worship a risen Savior. Come celebrate, especially if you don't have a home church. We want to invite you to be a part of LAG. We're going to celebrate. We're going to have a communion. We're going to take some time to worship together. My message this Sunday is called Restoring the Altar. But we just want to hang out together with people that we love and care about. So God bless. Have a great rest of your Wednesday.